Welcome back to the IOE panel number 2, Digital Health and E-Education. She leads the digital transformation at Bayer, a global enterprise advancing science for a better life in the areas of human, animal, and plant health. Recognized as one of the 100 top chief digital officers, she is passionate about translating digital developments into the meaningful public health advancements. Please welcome Jessica Federer, Chief Digital Officer at Bayer.
All right, what a welcome, right? Walking out on stage to that should be something everyone does every morning. So, how you guys doing? Everybody still awake, still having fun, thrilled to be here in Sofia? Oh, come on, that was lame. Try again. Everybody awake, having fun, thrilled to be here in Sofia? Yeah? Okay, that was a little better. I expect some more than that. Come on. So, as you just heard with that very cool voice in the sky, I'm Jessica Federer, and I lead the digital development function at Bayer. Who has heard of Bayer? Raise your hand. Wow, I love you guys. Okay. So, Bayer is a big startup. I bet you didn't know that. About 150 years ago, two friends, Friedrich and Friedrich, noticed a trend. They noticed that women in fashion were buying a lot of colorfully dyed clothing. They liked bright colors, unlike all of us wearing black at a digital festival today. There was a big trend towards really colorful dyes and colorful clothing. And so these two friends, Friedrich and Friedrich, said, dyes are expensive. Natural dyes are really expensive. We could make synthetic chemical versions of these dyes and have a huge business. And so these two Friedrichs got together, started this little company on the banks of the Wupper River in Germany, in the Rhineland. And 150 years later, they have over 100,000 employees. It's a globally recognized brand that everybody here in the room raised their hand as recognizing. And we've really moved from taking that foundation in chemistry and molecular processes beyond dyes. So understanding chemistry, having that core competency, enabled us to then move into human health, enabled us to bring aspirin to the market. Hopefully, none of you had to take aspirin today. It helped us to bring in treatments to help farmers and veterinarians and a wide range of products that are used all over the world right now. So you're here today, and the Webit Festival is about enterprise and policy and startups. So I just want to do a little gauging in the room. How many of you are in a startup? Okay, about a third of the audience. How many of you would say you have something to do with policy? Okay, not too many, but a few hands. All right, and what about big business, enterprise, corporations on that side? How many people? Great. How many of you are with Bayer? Hey, awesome. There's a few in the front row here. And then how many of you are with an agency or in the communications or the creative side? Yes, okay, fantastic. So this is a group here that really understands how digital business works. You guys get it. If you started a startup, all of you that raised your hands for a startup, when you started your company, you started it in a digital way. You started a digital business. But imagine if you started a company 150 years ago, and you went through the different revolutions, you went through, introducing electricity into your factories, going from trains to cars to planes. You went through having the internet introduced and faxes and phones and emails. You had all these evolutions over the last 150 years. So imagine being at a big company, and they want to do digital. And you sort of stop, and you have to think of the landscape. Because for 150 years, each brand, whether it's aspirin or one of the pharmaceutical brands, for 150 years, each brand and each country has been evolving at their digital speed in their country for their market, for their customer. So when you take a step back and you look across the whole world that is Bayer, the landscape is crazy. It's amazing. You have so many digital activities, so many platforms, processes, digital talent, and tools, and you have so many things going on. And so now every large company, every large global established company that's been around for over 30, 40 years, we're all undertaking what we call a digital transformation, which essentially means stepping back and looking at the landscape that we have now and saying, all right, we developed at different speeds in different countries, in different brands, in different areas, but now we have the tools and technologies to bring those platforms together, to break down the silos, to have interoperability, and to start functioning like those of you who created a startup, to start functioning as a really digitally enabled, connected company. So this is what the digital transformation is for a lot of big companies. Now, everybody always asks a few questions. One is, well, where do you start? And that's an easy one for us, because at Bayer, we got a lot of scientists. We really believe in innovation. And for us, digital is not a technology topic. It's not about the technology. For us, digital is a people topic. It's about how are we attracting the right talent? How are we developing those talent? How are we connecting talent? How are we empowering people to question processes and say, why do we have so many platforms that do the same thing? It's about enabling those people to make the changes. So for us, digital is a people topic. So we first start with people. And then in a big organization, well, how do you go from a molecule and a high output screener all the way through 10 years development, $2 billion, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, regulatory approval, market access approval, you finally get a product. So you have this huge timeline and huge investment. And the only way to take that innovation from a little molecule in the screener to a pill in your pill box is with process. And everybody loves to complain about process. But process is brilliant, and that's what has enabled us to succeed for over 150 years, is brilliantly managed processes for our innovation. So we're looking now at first people, then the processes. How can we adapt process so that it benefits every single brand, every team, and change the framework that we work in and keep it consistently implemented? So we have people, we have processes. The third thing we're focusing on is platforms. You can imagine over time, depending on what your brand is, depending on if you're in the US or if you're in Korea or if you're here in Sofia, the platforms you develop, the platforms you implement to work with your customers, to interface with your production and manufacturing, to engage, those platforms have changed. And I remember it wasn't too long ago that I was having a discussion with our social media team for our animal health business. Bayer also has the #5 animal health business in the world. And I asked them, okay, what social media accounts do we have? And how do you manage them? And if you think back a few years ago, people still logged in to Facebook to reply on Facebook. And then they would log into Twitter. And then they would log into LinkedIn. And then they'd log into WeChat. And then they would do that for every brand in every division and reply. And now, if you look at the landscape, you go over to somebody like Sprinkler, billion-dollar unicorn startup, and Nike, Disney, Bayer, everybody uses them because they've introduced a solution, a platform, which enables us to connect all that information, connect all those platforms, and change the way we work and have that harmonization. So we look at people, we look at processes, we look at platforms, and of course the last one, and the reason you're all here today, is partnerships. I said from the very beginning, Bayer innovates in molecular processes. That's our bread and butter. We innovate, we research and develop, we manufacture, and we market molecules that interfere with human, animal, and plant cells. That's what we do. We're not a digital company. We're never going to be a digital company. We aren't investing that same $2 billion that we put into one pharmaceutical product. We're not investing that to get the smallest Bluetooth receiver or to have satellites and cables underground for Wi-Fi. So we do what we do best, which is molecules, creating state-of-the-art molecules. But we need to partner for those digital solutions. And that's where many of you here today, you've got your big tech giants, you've got your smaller startups, you have innovative ideas, and that's where Bayer really opens our doors and partners with you. So you're starting to see now many opportunities just to come in and work with us. So if you go to our website right now, you'll see Grants for Apps is currently open and accepting applications. And this is a really cool program. I know many companies do projects like this, but Bayer was one of the first and the only life science startup accelerator to do it in this way. Anyone from all over the world can apply. We bring them into the company. You get C-suite mentorship, which having the chief marketing officer of Bayer be your mentor really helps. You get funding and you get space in our office. And we've been running this program. We started it in Berlin a couple years ago, and now it's in Shanghai, it's in Tokyo, it's in Moscow, it's in Barcelona. It's all over the world, but we're really connecting. And then we do crowdsourcing on innovation. So grants for targets, grants for indications. If you have an idea of a molecule, you can submit it as well. And actually, we had last year a couple hundred different targets were suggested, and now 2 of those are in development, which is actually pretty good for crowdsourcing innovation in this type of field. So I see the clock ticking down. We got 1 minute and 45 seconds left before I take your really profound, wonderful questions, because you're all thinking of those questions now, right? And the message I want to leave you with, before I take your great, brilliant questions, the message I want to leave you with is that digital is a people topic. And if you always go back to that, and you always go back to the customer, that will open all the doors that you need. That empowers the transformation. That puts it in the right lens. So often we come and face digital as a technology topic, and we scare away half the audience that we need to work with. And we put the barrier artificially too high. And so by bringing it to a common denominator where it's not about the phone, which someday ask me about my talk on how the phone is the new toilet because it has the biggest public health impact on the world. It's not about the device or the technology. It's about how it connects people and brings them together and brings that human element in. So that's just a little bit about how a 150-year-old company is growing and embracing a digital transformation to be a better partner with you, to better engage with you, our customers and our partners. And now I will say thank you very much for being here today, for putting your time, your most valuable thing that you have, putting your time into coming and meeting with colleagues and pushing innovation forward. And hopefully all of you share the mission that we share at Bayer, which is using this science, using this innovation for a better life in one way or another to help your world and help your community. So let's hear some of those great questions. Yes, gentleman in the front row. Usually I pick on the people in the back row, but since you raised your hand already. Right here. Ma'am? But good running. And another one over there afterwards. All right, great.
Great. 2 brief questions. So firstly, will we see digital video leaflets with your products anytime soon, rather than the small printed things that most 60-year-olds struggle to get through?
Yeah, right?
And
Those
secondly,
are hard to read.
You mentioned the customer. I'm curious, you haven't said much, but around, taking the medication, behavior change, all of those things are essential to the success in the end. Are you continue to just put the pill into that process, or are you going to work on solutions that really support that behavior change with all the other aspects that go with it?
Yeah, I love this question. And we always tell folks that digital is not about taking the little paper leaflet and putting it in a PDF or putting it in a video. That's not digital. That's just using another means, which we do still need to do, because I agree with you, it's too hard to read some of that small print. But I think the point behind your question is that in a company like ours, what digital enables is a fundamental shift in our business model. Really, a fundamental transformative shift in our business model. Because right now we innovate and we sell you molecules, fertilizers or pills. Now with data, with advanced analytics and machine learning, we can actually look at the outcome. And what we're focused on then is the outcome, the end result, through those digital tools. And that really changes the whole business model of what it is you're bringing to market. And you don't buy a pill just to buy the chemicals. You buy a pill for the outcome. And you don't buy seeds to plants just to have the seeds. You buy them for the crop yield you want. So what digital is enabling in our life science industry is this huge fundamental shift. Now, your second question, remind me, what was it? Oh yeah, behavior change. Guys, if any of you can solve human behavior, you're doing well. Behavior change is the holy grail of everything we do. And any integrated solution to help people change their behavior is really welcome, because you can imagine our frustration if you put $2 billion and 10 years and the most brilliant doctors in the world to create a medicine, and then people don't take it, so it doesn't work, and then they complain it doesn't work, but they're not taking it right. I mean, human behavior has a lot to do with it. I think we're starting to see better wearables, better integrated solutions. I'm sure you've talked about a lot of them here that will help us to do it in a more integrated way. I think right now we're still at a phase where a lot of those devices and add-ons are more for the paranoid healthy to tell you what you already know. So I'm looking forward to that next evolution where they really add value and integrate much more seamlessly. Great questions. All right, there's another one right here, lady in the middle with the microphone.
Thank you. You mentioned you also sell your pharma products to agriculture, farming.
Yeah.
I'm curious to learn how's your sales channel to the farmers structured? How many levels of resellers do you have, and how do you market your messages to them?
Awesome question. Come back to me afterwards to get a more detailed answer, because I won't bore everybody here. But basically, it depends on the country. Obviously, it depends on which country we're in, the size of the farm, if it's a big industrial farm or if it's a small farmer. But what's really exciting here, and we just did a press release a couple weeks ago, is this digital farming approach where you use existing data sources and information about the soil and microclimate, and you create algorithms that are completely customized for that farmer, so that instead of them coming to you and buying seeds and fertilizer and different products, what they're buying is a crop yield, and you're really helping them to shift the focus. And of course, it's an evolution. We're not there yet. There are pharma companies now being reimbursed based on outcomes, and farms paying based on crop yield, but it's still an evolution. This is a really exciting time where we're learning and experimenting. But that will really change the model as well, because then it's not about the marketing and the channels and how many people. It's really an integrated management solution which transforms the relationship with that customer. Great question. All right. I see someone waving in the back. Yes. Someone is bringing you a microphone. Oh, you better wait, because I can't hear a thing. Sorry. There you go.
Hi to everybody. Can you give examples of your digital campaign of Bayer, like for aspirin or for something else that you have? Maybe mobile application, something, website or something?
So it really depends on the country you're in again. I was just
for Bulgaria.
Okay, that's very specific. I've got one in mind for you, though. So in every country, you have different partners. So in China, partnering with Weibo, we've been really successful in how we work, because everybody uses WeChat in China and Alibaba, and using the different mechanisms for the local market, changing how we work directly to sell to our customers, and that's new. Before, we always went through other parties. And that's a big shift in our digital business. And then another approach is just looking at the information you have available to you in your country and using it in a clever way. So if you go over to Moscow, where the traffic is horrible, but they do have great Wi-Fi in the train systems, if you log into that Wi-Fi, you're getting ads. And that's sort of annoying, but on the backside of that, that means the local markets have such beautifully precise digital marketing data that they can use to tailor and improve their metrics. So you're seeing a huge shift. Instead of the old way of just paying for a TV ad, you now can get so tailored because you know everything about that person. So you're seeing a huge range of how digital is changing marketing campaigns. I'd say we're a really complicated company to answer that question for, because obviously what we can do for a pharmaceutical drug is very different than what we can do for aspirin or Coppertone or Dr. Scholl's, which is different than what we do for farmers. But we've got hundreds of examples, so come chat with me after as well.
Thank you.
Great. Any last questions? If not, I see the clock is blinking. So please give yourself a round of applause. Thank you for all the questions today.